Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Drux Malone Unboxing. Please give the channel a like and a subscribe. You can also check out my blog, www.couchpotatofightguru.blogspot.com. And this weekend at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, we see the return of Errol the Truth Spence Jr. He will be defending his IBF welterweight title, his world title, against former unified junior welterweight champion and former WBC welterweight champion of the world, Danny Swift Garcia. Now, I'm saying this is the return of Errol Spence not only because of a pandemic, but since his last fight, which was, I think it was September of last year, he had his biggest win when he won a split decision over Showtime Sean Porter to retain his title in a great fight. And after that, he was involved in a huge car crash where he was flung out of his sports car and tossed over a couple of lanes and landed in the middle of the two roads. And he somehow survived. And apparently, he's made a full recovery and he's not wasting any time. He's jumping straight back into the deep end of the pool because Danny Garcia is one of the elite welterweights. Now, Errol Spence is undefeated, 26-0 with 21 knockouts. Danny Swift Garcia is 36-2, also 21 knockouts. He's a more experienced guy. He's had a great run as a junior welterweight at 140 pounds. Won the WBC title from, I think it was a vacant title over Eric Morales, or from Eric Morales. Added the WBA title by knocking out Amir Khan, and knocked out Morales in a rematch, and also beat Zab Judah, and then he had his signature win against the favourite Lucas Matissa. He boxed beautifully and outpointed Matissa, who was then heavily favoured to win. So that's Danny Swift Garcia. He established himself as a top guy at 140 pounds, moved up to welterweight, won a vacant WBC title by beating Robert Guerrero, who himself had world titles at several weights. And then eventually he lost it in a unification to Keith Thurman, and in another crack at the WBC title, he lost the decision to Sean Porter. So those were his only two losses, and those were close losses. He didn't lose by much. Now, Danny Garcia is a very strong, sturdy type. I think he's got a great chin. He's very durable. He's not the quickest. He's been criticized that he's a tad slow. But he has excellent timing and he's a really good counter puncher. He sets traps. He's not the busiest guy in there, but he sets traps for you. And when he sits down on those counter shots, he really sits down on them and he makes them count. He does punch with authority, but I think at welterweight, he's clearly not the force he was at junior welterweight. The rise up in weight took a little bit of a danger out of Danny Garcia. But the thing is, Errol Spence, after that huge car accident, is he 100%? Now, if he's not 100%, it's hard to think that you can get away with broken bones and all that, and you come straight back into such a high-level fight. I would have thought he would have a tune-up or something first. But his handlers around him obviously care for him, and they should look out for him, and they must be convinced that he's 100%. You can look at 100% in the gym, but on fight night it can be a different story. So that's a huge question mark hanging over Errol Spence Jr. He's a very good southpaw. He's got a great jab. He can go to the body. He's got power. But should he really be as highly ranked pound for pound where he is ranked at the moment? Because he won the welterweight title against Kell Brook. Impressive performance. Had a bit of trouble with Brook early on and then stopped Brook in the 11th. But Brook came off a jump to middleweight where he was stopped by Gennady Golovkin. So one could argue that Kell Brook was slightly damaged goods at least. Beat Lamont Peterson, who was also a little bit past his prime. Beat Mikey Garcia, who's a great fighter, but Mikey is a smaller guy. He was most effective from featherweight to lightweight and perhaps junior welterweight, but certainly not as a welterweight really. So his first real elite welterweight without any ifs and buts attached was Sean Porter, and Porter took him right to the edge. You know, it was a very close fight. split decision. Some people had Porter edging it. I thought Spence did enough, but that fight showed that he's human. You know, Porter's pressure and swarming style and rough stuff gave Errol Spence some trouble. Now, Danny Garcia is not that kind of guy. He's not that busy swarming fighter that Porter is. I've said he likes to hang back and set traps. If Errol Spence did not have a car crash, I would feel fairly comfortable in saying that Spence will win a competitive but clear decision by a couple of points. The big if hanging over his head is, of course, the car crash situation. If he's not 100%, you can't be the guy like Danny Garcia if you're not 100%. That's just not going to fly. If he's not 100% and Garcia hits him with a couple of shots and let's say an eye suddenly starts swelling or he's got double vision, he's not feeling too good, and the doubts will set in and Danny Garcia will take advantage of it. So if you're a gambling person, I'm not sure what the odds is, macabre as it may sound with a situation around the fight, I would take a chance on Danny Garcia, because if Spence is not right, he's going to come unstuck. But I'm going to assume that the team around him knows what they're doing, that they did extensive tests, and that I would hate to see Errol Spence's career end because of the outside factors. And I'm going to take a gamble on my own and say that Errol Spence will be up to form, and he will be on his P's and Q's. So I'm going to go for Errol Spence to win a close competitive decision over Danny Swift Garcia. But I could be wrong. If he's not 100%, he's going to be in trouble. But I'm going to ride with Errol Spence. I hope that we see a great fight in Texas on Saturday night. And until I see you guys again, remember to keep those gloves up.